Today I'm going to be discussing the formula that you should go through in order to grow a small account in 2023. This should give you the insight you need in order to grow your small account. So part one is making sure that you understand not to invest real money until you are actually ready. This is something that I've touched on in my last video, which was how I would learn to start Forex if I could relearn. If you haven't checked that out already, I would suggest you go and do so, especially if your experience in the Forex markets is under 12 to 18 months. But basically, if you think you have developed a strategy, it's important to test it on a demo account first to get a true understanding on how it works for yourself and its profitability. If after 20 trades or 2 months trading, you still aren't profitable, then the plan needs work. And obviously, as I mentioned before in previous videos, before even going into a demo test and developing your strategy and trade plan, you need to be back testing what you think is the right way to approach the markets. And this obviously shows why it's important to not invest your money until you truly are ready, because obviously after 20 trades, if you still aren't profitable, it's a pretty big piece of evidence to suggest that the trade plan doesn't work. And if you were using real money at that time, we don't know how much you might have lost, but it would have definitely been some sort of loss. And obviously it's more difficult to earn more money when you're starting with a small pot anyway. You don't need to be setting yourself even further behind. So without a solid strategy, trading plan, risk management plan, and demo experience, you're not ready to invest your own capital. So then we move on to part two, which would be to ensure that you don't over leverage. So many people see account options with a leverage of like 1 to 100, 1 to 200, 1 to 300, and even larger, sometimes even 1 to 1,000. I think that it's the golden ticket for them in the sense that with a small deposit, they can use the leverage to then make bigger profits. But obviously, in order to use leverage in that way to generate higher profits, then you have to be risking more of your capital per trade, and this is definitely not the way to go, especially on a small account or if you're new to live trading. I personally recommend that your personal investment pot should not exceed 1% risk per trade and a very maximum of 1.5% risk, and that's after 6 months trading live and knowing that things are going well. You honestly won't believe how many people over leverage and blow accounts on a monthly or even sometimes weekly basis. They put in $300, $400, sometimes even $500 or pounds, and they're over leveraging each trade, so they're risking like 10% a trade to try and get profits quickly, and ultimately it comes back to bite them. So it's important that you don't fall into the trap. And this leads me on to the next point, which is kind of similar in a way, but it's ensuring that you don't overtrade as well. And it's similar in the sense that you don't want to be pointlessly risking more capital than you need to. And this tends to happen when you've made your target of say 5% for the month and you think, oh well, we've got a week left of the month, there's a good trade set up by the looks of it. I'm going to execute a position in the markets because if this goes well, I might be able to end the month on 8% or even 10%. So I've doubled my target and I'm saving time towards my end goal. And then what happens is you end up losing that trade and you end up with 4% profit, sometimes 3% if you're not sure on how much you should risk, and ultimately then you haven't even hit your target that you wanted to in the first place, so you've actually ended up worse off than where you were in the first place. So the best way to sort of avoid this really is to set out a plan in your mind of where you want to be in, let's say, 5 years time in terms of the capital return on investment, and then you can break this 5-year plan down into individual monthly targets that you want to try and hit. And once you've hit these targets, you can take a step back from the markets. Maybe if you see other opportunities, go for them on a demo account or just keep an eye on them and see how they will have played out. But once you've hit that target, then just leave the live market executions until the following month. So I'm now going to touch on this in more detail, and I'm going to show 2 possible scenarios month by month, year on year, and we're going to invest in with live capital once the time is right. Okay, so in the first scenario, we're going to go off the basis of someone who is a full-time worker, Monday to Friday, say 9 till 5 job, okay? And let's say you're starting from scratch, so you've just purchased a course and you're learning the content, developing your trade plan, back testing and gathering data, and you want to have at least a month on a demo account, okay? So this is about 3 to 4 months. And within that time frame of you learning, you've still been working in the week and you've managed to put to one side $1,000 to start, right? Which is obviously $250 saved each month. So your initial investment we will place in this compound interest calculator. of 1,000. Okay, and then we'll switch the interest rate to monthly. Now, I'm going to base this off of a 4% monthly return because I feel like this is very doable. You know, this is an average really. Sometimes you might get less, sometimes you could get more, way more. And obviously, as I said, this is going to be a 5-year plan. And then just to make it generate a bit more, I would say that as a full-time worker, I think it will be possible for most people to deposit $200 a month on top of their original investment. So this actually makes quite a lot of difference, and it's important to have this coming in each month. If you have a normal sort of saving account, maybe you could use some of that money that you're putting into there on a monthly basis and change it into your investment account if things are going well. This is something I personally did at the start as well when I was working full time. So we'll put $200 per month, and now we'll calculate it so it will show you exactly where you'll be in 5 years time from your initial investment and your $200 monthly increments. So your projection at the end of the 5 years is a value of $58,000, which is obviously quite a lot, and the monthly compound interest really does add up to quite a lot. So this is a bit of food for thought for you guys. Obviously you can look into this yourselves. I just used the compound interest calculator that I found online. I just googled it, and obviously if you then kept the money in for another 5 years, well then you'd be hitting over $1 million by hitting 4% a month from 58,000. Obviously this is also based off of leaving the money in and reinvesting $200 per month without withdrawing for the whole 5-year term. Okay, so now we move on to scenario 2, and this is for a full-time student with a part-time job, or someone who just works part-time in general, or maybe struggling to save a bit of money. Again, you've got that 3 to 4 month window of learning the course that you may have taken out to ensure that you develop the trade plan right and that it's, you know, proven itself to be a profitable trade plan. So I'm going to change the initial investment down to $500. We'll keep the interest rate the same as 4% per month, as I think that's an okay average to be looking for. And obviously it's still a 5-year plan. Now with working part-time, I'm going to change the deposit amount to $100 per month. As again, I feel this is definitely doable as a part-time worker. If not, maybe obviously you've got a budget somewhere, because it's important to make sure this happens for your future, you know, whether it's eating out once or twice less, or, you know, cutting back on the barista made coffee, something like that. I don't know, something to review for yourself. So now we'll calculate the same, but obviously with a $500 investment, 4% per month, a 5-year plan with deposits on a monthly basis of $100. Okay, and you can see it's $29,000 after 5 years. Obviously it's not life-changing at this point, and it takes 5 years to get there, but along the way obviously things might change. You might get a full-time job, so you could increase the monthly deposits on a short-term basis, or if you have the odd month where you get a bonus or extra hours, you can put the difference in there. But again, you know, when you're comparing this to a bank account or even, you know, stocks and shares ISAs, you know, they're only maximum 10% per year on a good year really, and obviously they'll take cuts along the way and different things like that. So, you know, 4% per month is a massive amount, and obviously again you can reinvest this for another 5 years, hopefully develop the same sort of interest rates per month, and this can turn into sort of £750,000. All in all, this shows the importance of not only patience, but the significance of avoiding over trading, over leveraging, because it's not necessary. And remember, 5 years isn't actually that long. In a lot of cases, these small accounts that can be snowballed into similar sums such as these at the end of the 5-year time frame could equate to more than you might have made in your own job, where you're having to work for someone else. And obviously along the way, as you become a better trader, instead of reinvesting your own capital, you can go for funded, different things like that. So I hope this video inspired you to consider investing seriously and the power that it does have. If you are interested in taking that first step, be sure to join my free Telegram channel. I'll leave a link in the description, and it's a sort of hub for where I share insights into my trading, and you can see my results and follow along. But the end message of this video is that you really can flip your account with small capital and without over risking and over trading. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as it really helps me out, and I'll see you in the next video.